thank you so much for joining us today. Really good to have you here. I'm joined by Joanne Maclachlan. She's a self-employed mortgage and protection advisor at Cornerstone Finance Group. And we've got Katherine Stagg, who is managing director at Stagg Mortgage Services. Maybe if I can start with you, Joanne, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about your journey into your current role.
Yes.
Your pathway there.
Yeah, of course. So I'm quite new to mortgage and protection advising. So I actually graduated from university 17 years ago and went straight into running my own business back then, but completely different industry. It was the wedding industry.
Oh, okay.
I bought a franchise and then sold that in 2019. And then up until 2 years ago, between 2019 and 2024, kind of did a few things and nothing ever kind of hit the spot for me. I was also very aware I'd just got married, I wanted a family, and nothing that I was doing offered flexibility that I kind of strived for. And I wanted to get back to being self-employed as well, like I was in the wedding business. So 2 years ago, I just basically sat down and thought, right, what am I going to do? What does the rest of my career look like? Because that's what I wanted. I wanted a career. And my auntie and cousin are mortgage and protection advisors. So I spoke to them, spoke to lots of different people. And I thought, actually, do you know what? When I bought my house, I really enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
And it was completely different to how I bought my first house 16 years ago. So that's how I ended up kind of deciding to retrain. So I trained, I did one exam almost immediately and then had maybe 6 months to kind of get back to study because I was still working for somebody else at the time as well. And then passed my final 2 exams a year ago in May. So I've been working since last July now as a mortgage and protection advisor, so just short of a year. And again, I've gone self-employed to provide that flexibility. I will probably touch on this when it comes to myths, but everybody thinks that, being a mortgage advisor, you are going to be working 24/7. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of work involved, but I can work around my family. Yeah. I can still do the pickups. I can still be at the dance shows. And also that tends to work better for my clients because they work 9 to 5s, a lot of them. They would prefer to meet the evening and weekends. Yeah. The self-employed role is what's working for me at the moment.
And we'll talk a bit more about that a bit later as well. Maybe Katherine, I come to you. What's your journey been like into the role you have today?
Yeah, so a bit similar to Joanne, I started my life as a swimming teacher. I used to swim for Sheffield many, many moons ago. And obviously, because I did that, I got into swimming teaching. But I just was poorly all the time, with the chlorine and stuff. So, and I decided, and that was sort of when you worked, you got paid. So I decided that I wanted to have as I called it, a proper job at the time. Yeah. So I went into the world of Royal Bank of Scotland, cashiering. We probably weren't the best at cashiering because they put me onto customer services more or less straight away. And yeah, I learned quite a lot from the bank. And then I had both my daughters. And my sister was an advisor and she just said one day, well, why don't you do it? So I left the Royal Bank of Scotland, went to work for an estate agency in Sheffield as just paraplanner, admin, and I absolutely loved it. And then while my kids were asleep at night, I revised my mortgage exams. I think I passed in August 2009, so a long time ago, but I really enjoyed doing the paraplanning. So even though I passed my CMAP, I didn't actually take on the role of a mortgage advisor probably till that January. And I get it now because, sometimes when you're trying to chase, how frustrated you get. Then I moved somewhere else because they moved networks and I wanted to stay with my network. And then he moved somewhere else, so I moved on my own. I set Stagg Mortgages up about 2.5 years ago. And over time, I think the passion's grown into desire. So I've built something that so valuable, value-driven to us and personal. And I think that's how Stagg Mortgages is. It's just a journey for the clients that we really, really culture it into getting them through everything, getting them the right deals. We care so deeply, and we just love getting to that offer. And when you email them and say, or ring them, mortgages offered, it's just the nicest thing. And also on the side of the protection, you sell you don't sell, you advise the protection, but also we've had a few recently. We helped the other side, and it's been really nice to know that we can do that as well. So that's where I'm at the minute. So.
And Joanne, maybe coming back to you about, I'm sure you agree with a lot of what Katherine said around what you really like about the job. And you mentioned you had a good experience when you were going through the mortgage process the last time, but it can really make it's a huge, life moment for clients, isn't it? That you're such a key part of.
Yeah, and the last time I bought this house that I'm in now, it was a brilliant experience, but my first experience of selling that house due to relationship breakdown was awful. And that's what made me think, actually, I could possibly make a difference here. So one of the things that very similar to what Kath just said, one of the things that I enjoy the most is helping people in those tough situations that don't think there's a way out or there's a way onto the property ladder for them. So when you get to use your own knowledge, or go away and have to research, and you find the correct lender, the correct product for your clients, and then giving them that phone call to say, right, we found someone, this is where we're going to put your application in. And then likewise, when you get the offer, I don't think there is a better feeling. But one thing I have found is that every client has been unique. And again, that just offers that problem solving element to the job that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, lots to get your teeth into there. And maybe Katherine, you can say a little bit about, we talked about myths about the industry, and maybe you can say, what are some of the common myths you hear about careers in this sector, and how would you kind of answer those?
I think sometimes people worry, like the myths. The common one, especially advising in mortgages, is self-employed. They think they're never going to get a mortgage. They think it's so hard to get a mortgage, and it's not. It is quite easy to do. You can even do it with 1 year's accounts, and I think a lot of people worry about that. And I think sometimes, as probably more with Joanne as well, sometimes you come into it and people think, oh my God, I've got to have this really good mathematical background. I've got to be really good at numbers. I'm dyslexic, and I sometimes get my numbers mixed up, not as much as I used to, but it isn't all about numbers. It is just about the human side, the human touch. We've been with your clients, helping them through the journey. There's just so much to go at. And also, weirdly enough, I went on an event in London yesterday, and so I'm obviously in this room. But weirdly enough, the conversation that we had on the panel is this industry was very male orientated probably 20 to 25 years ago. There were no women, and a lot of people say, oh yeah, it's sort of, there's a lot of men, and there is still, I'm not going to say there's still a lot of men, but there's a lot more women coming through, and you need that human side. Whereas I think if I see a client now and there's a problem, straight away, right, come on, let's have a hug, let's work out what we're going to do. It's not, do not worry about it. There's always an answer. Whereas a sort of male would be going, right, this is what it is, this is how we can. So yeah, you got that bit of a human side to touch to it as well.
Yeah. And Joanne, you were saying that one of the myths was around that flexibility element, and actually you found for you it can fit around your kind of work-life balance quite well.
So I've got quite a young family now, but I kind of always knew since having the wedding business that I wanted to be a bit more flexible. I was very tied to the weekends and being at home for weddings, weekend in and out. So I've kind of known what I wanted for a career, but I've never been able to find it. And yes, don't get me wrong, you can go into a mortgage advising role and you're going to be working 50, 60-hour weeks into the evenings, the weekends, but you've just got to be aware of what you want when you are looking for that job. I knew what was important to me, and that's flexibility, hence why self-employed is ideal for me. Yeah. But because of that, there is a misconception that the industry is hard for women to succeed in. I've found it the complete opposite, and I think a lot of my colleagues would say the same. It is offering that flexibility, there's a strong earning potential, and there's genuine career progression, which is what I strive for alongside having that work-life balance as well. And then kind of touching on what I said before, still being able to make a difference to people's lives, kind of ticks all the boxes in what I was looking for a career.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much both for joining us today, and I'm sure that's really helped a lot of people and women especially listening to hear a bit more about what the role entails and whether it might be for them. So thank you so much. Thank you.